Hello, let's see how we can use the Doxygen framework, which generates documentation like this, primarily in PDF or HTML format from C++ comments, together with the integrated development environment Qt Creator from the Qt framework. This is the Wikipedia page for Doxygen. It uses syntax similar to Javadoc. This is a multi-line C++ comment which starts with slash and then two asterisks. And then it also supports a syntax similar to the one used in the Qt toolkit, with the major difference that the multi-line comment block starts with slash, asterisk, and then a exclamation point. And then commands such as param return, instead of starting with the @ sign, start with a backslash. It's just that Doxygen supports both backslash or the @ sign before commands, and then it supports multi-line comment blocks which start with either ways. So slash asterisk and then another asterisk, or slash asterisk and then the exclamation point. Let's start the integrated development environment Qt Creator. Let's create a new project. We'll have a Qt console application. We'll name it, I don't know, mini console app. No translations. We're going to use Qt, in this case 6.8.1. I have installed this from the Qt Online installer. I'm using the Linux operating system Ubuntu 24.10. I will keep just the debug cmake build configuration. No version control. So Doxygen is mainly for documenting classes, and especially if you're going to expose those via public header include files. So let's create a C++ class which has both an .h file, which is an include file, and also a CPP file with the source code implementation of the body of the method. Anything goes, just an example. Okay, so I have added two methods. The constructor was added automatically by the wizard inside Qt Creator that created this class, this pair of files, simple math.h and simple math.cpp. Let's put the method bodies. So this does addition, and this one does multiplication by 2. Times x. Okay. Hopefully this thing compiles. Let's actually use one of these methods in here at the top. So let's have a class. Let's do an addition, 23 and 12. And print the old style, C programming language style. Let's have 23 and 12 as variables because we're going to need them both as parameters to the call of simple method and also when we're going to print. So let's do this. 23. Z. X, Y, and Z. Let's see if this thing runs. It's still running. Yes, because it's a command line application which has a main loop. Let's comment out these. Step over. Out. Okay, so it's hidden in here. Let's run again. So says the result of adding 23 and 12 is 35. We should have used a new line. Okay. Now we have an extremely simple Hello World application with a very simple class. We could document the class members either in the CPP file or in the .h file. Let's do it in here. And Qt Creator, the integrated development environment, has support for creating the comments which use Doxygen syntax. If I write the first line and then I press an enter. So let's do that. Let's see the Java doc style docstrings. So slash asterisk asterisk press enter. Slash asterisk asterisk press enter for the constructor. And this other thing is actually not a valid Qt framework docstring syntax, which is called Qdoc. It's actually still Doxygen style Javadoc. Instead, this asterisk is replaced with an exclamation mark, and add characters are replaced with a backslash. That's it. The exact same commands exist in both this type of comments and this type of comments. Okay. We should actually not document the code at all and see how the Doxygen still manages to create a correct and valid documentation for the class simple math. So let's do that. Okay, you could go fancy and replace the include guards with a pragma once. Okay, and now we'll go fancy and we'll use the terminal Alt 5 in Qt Creator. So let's see, we're in the root directory of this project, and let's see, we've installed Doxygen. So in my case, it's Ubuntu 24.10. The command line was sudo apt install Doxygen. We have the Doxygen man page, which is man space Doxygen. In here, it's listed the steps that you want to go through when adding Doxygen for the first time to a C++ project. So let's actually follow what it says in here. So it says Doxygen and then -s, which is optional. Let's see what this -s does. How long is this thing? This thing. It says if -s is specified, the configuration file will be really short, just, I know, 60 lines without comments. If we keep the comments, the configuration file will be really, really long, like, I don't know, 500 lines or something. But we want the comments. Okay, so we're not going to use -s. So Doxygen, the first step is to go -g, which will generate a configuration file. Let's actually create a Git repo in here. Okay, so we need a cmake list.txt. We need to exclude this directory build/desktop. Do we do that? It doesn't show hidden files. This is the button, the filter button, options. You go show hidden files. By default, this tool window is showing the project view, which is the cmake structure. I'm using file system, so from this combo box. Okay, let's see what it's not. Okay, so there's a build directory which was created by Qt Creator, where cmake is doing its things. So we're going to exclude this thing. Yes, this one should be excluded. We want an initial gitignore file. So main.cpp, simplemath.cpp, simplemath.h, and this is the generated doxy file. Let's look at this doxy file. It's really complicated to look at it if if you don't have syntax highlighting. How do we do that? Okay, so the KD text editor Qt, the advanced text editor, has syntax highlighting for Doxyfiles. And this allows us to see a clear separation between the comments, the lines starting with a pound sign, and then the rest of the lines. So this is the default Doxyfile. This is a project file for Doxygen with the default contents of this file. UTF-8, the name of the project. Let's actually improve in here. So it says mini console app. Doxygen is actually made for documenting library projects, not so much console command line applications. You can give your branding, such as project logo. If you don't specify an output directory, the default names for the output directories will be used. Okay. We're going to just keep the defaults. A ton of settings, at least 60, and a ton of comments. The file is almost 3000 characters long. Save. And now the next step, once we have the Doxyfile, we can use it. So we're going to update an old configuration file. Nope. We have just created the configuration file. And now we're using Doxygen to generate documentation using the existing configuration file. So Doxygen without any parameters. Let's see what it did. We have warnings because there are member functions of the class SimpleMath which are not documented, do not have docstrings. Let's see what it did. So it created a directory latex, a directory HTML in the root directory of the project. What we're actually after, we want to make sure that the HTML files have been generated and then immediately go to generate PDF files. So in the /html directory, there's a file index.html. Let's look at it. Let's see how we can open it. I don't see it in here. This guy. Do we open an HTML file? I don't know. This is how it looks like. There's a search functionality by default. This is the start page. You usually use some sort of customization for the home page for index.html. Add additional paragraphs to say some information about this project. At least I know if it's an open source project, what its license, where is the Git public repository. There's a list of classes, just one class, simple math, and it already looks correct to me. The .h files are included by default with syntax highlighting. there's a listing of the included files. And then there's additional features. There's class hierarchy, which is going to use dot and graph.viz to create PNG files or SVG or what are those images. There's listing for the classes. So it already looks okay. Let's now head towards creating the PDF file. Let's look at the instructions that I have in here. So it says that the command line tool pdflatex should exist. How do we zoom in? Okay. So what's happening here? Shift V, Control Shift V to paste. PDF latex says it does not exist and I should install it. Middle click paste seems to work. So this is about the text programming language and framework. It's using the distribution texlive, and we'll have the command line PDF latex if we install this package texlive-latex-base. But then immediately PDF latex, when used to generate the PDF format of Doxygen documentation, will require this file float.sty, which then requires more packages from the texlive distribution, so texlive-latex-extra. Let's see that. It says that we should change to this directory, the latex one, and in here there's a makefile, like this. And the most important target in here is PDF, to create the PDF, and all will create a PDF. Okay, so cd latex and then just make. Okay, the error that we expected, which is float.sty not found. Let's install this meta package. Press X to quit. Ctrl Shift V. Yes. Okay, so the deb packages were installed, a ton of packages, including a basic Java, runtime environment, etc. And now we can run make, which is the GNU make, the tool that you use for building some C and C++ software from source. And at the penultimate line, it says that output written to refman.pdf file, which is this file. Don't want to open it like this. Okay, so latex refman.pdf. This one. So mini console app, this is the text that we have just specified in the Doxyfile. The table of contents, similar information to what we have in the HTML format of the Doxygen generated documentation. We had a list of classes, a list of files, the simplemath.h file, the listing of the include file. There's a huge amount of white space and Chrome, which is really bad. In my opinion, people are not made to scroll. the information should be immediately available in here in 2 columns as compact as possible. Really, really bad. We're at, I don't know, page 3 and we don't see anything yet. The first page with actual content is page 5. So really, really bad usage of white space in the letter or A4 pages of this PDF file. Okay, so there's 2 methods. Doesn't say anything about the constructor. That's probably configurable again in the Doxyfile. And then the syntax highlighted version of simplemath.h include file. HTML style hyperlinks work inside the PDF. There's a structure of the PDF that's navigatable. Contents. Okay, let's try to add the constructors documentation to the Doxygen generated documentation. Let's do this first. Doxyfile, something with constructors. Searched on Google for Doxygen show constructor, and other people complained about this thing. And the reasoning in here is that there's this split between brief documentation and not brief documentation. The documentation that's not brief is going to be included in another section with detailed documentation. And if we want methods and constructors that don't really have any documentation docstrings to appear there, then we need both of these to be true, both these settings. Always detailed sec, yes, and repeat brief, yes. Let's see how that works. Always detailed sec, what does that thing say? Doxygen will generate a detailed section even if there is only a brief description. Yes, we want that. And this other setting, repeat brief, that was yes by default. Okay, now let's do it in such a way that we can regenerate the documentation straight from the terminal inside Qt Creator. Let's prepare a command line. So we want to we want to run Doxygen. Which will regenerate the HTML and LaTeX directories. So we need to remove those just in case. This maybe. Okay, so we need to delete from the root of the project directory. The directory is /html/latex. Then we're going to run Doxygen, which will regenerate these 2 directories, but reflecting the correct new versions and contents of the C++ files, but also of the configuration Doxyfile. Then we need to switch to the /latex directory. So we're going to use pushd latex. In there, we're going to run make, and then we're going to run popd. Let's see if this entire thing just works. Okay, and if we're lucky, auto upload, auto refresh will happen in Ocular. Let's see if that's the case. I'm not sure what happened here. Is the list of all documented files with brief descriptions. Yeah, that totally did not work. And I don't know why. So the two directories are being deleted. Then we want to rerun. Okay. So it totally did not include the constructor. I'm not sure what's happening in here. Okay, with that out of the way, let's continue to adding docstrings to the .h files. Again, we're going to use the integrated development environment to do it automatically for us. Okay, and we should complete information for the parameters first. Not sure what capitalization I should use in here. Let's see, lowercase. Okay. Okay, so it seems that the having even a brief documentation for the constructor, so having the constructor appear at all in the generated Doxygen documentation actually requires that you put at least some information in the docstrings for the constructor. Okay, so it already looks really okay. So we have all of the public methods and the constructor available in the generated PDF. We have a table with parameter documentation. It expects that you use sentences everywhere, so including in here, probably. So it did refresh Ocular immediately, automatically, when I changed the casing in here from the lowercase t to uppercase t. Okay. The only thing that's missing from here is to add more Doxygen commands. We're using already brief, param, and return, but we also might need to add other commands such as the one for seeing also, for see also. Maybe this method uses this method. And then, I know, lists, unnumbered lists, fancier paragraphs, emphasize text, and dot for showing the class hierarchy. Let's try to have this class inherit and see the class hierarchy. So let's say that simple math inherits from I know, minimath. Let's create a class minimath. Okay, let's document the constructor and the class. And this should be it. Let's see if it compiles. Fix available. Where's the fix? The fix appears after a while, maybe after the complete compilation finishes. So it did not include the minimath.h file in the correct place. This docstring should be immediately before the class definition. Let's see if we can compile this time. Compile output, probably successful. Back to the terminal. Let's run again. It looks bad. We already have more PDF files. We have graphics. It says that the base class is named minimath. The class that inherits is called simple math colors. And this gray background color is for the current class. So in here, it's the documentation for Minimath. So the Minimath rectangle has a gray background color, whereas in here is the documentation for simple math class. So the background color for simple math is now gray. Yes, let's look at the HTML version of the documentation, and then this should be it. Probably you want for the HTML documentation to have the tree view visible by default. Let's actually implement that. So I search Doxygen show tree view and says that in the Doxyfile there's a setting generate underscore tree view. Let's edit that. Turn on off the condensed index tabs at the top. Generate tree view, yes. And now we have this tree view, which has is resizable, can be collapsed. It's handy once you have more than 2 files and 2 classes. It immediately becomes very, very useful for navigating. So there's this inheritance list for classes. All of the .h files which are documented are included in the chapter file list. There's all sorts of fancy CSS styling for the constructor and member functions. They are grouped by constructor and destructor and then member functions. And let's see that the search works. We want to go to Minimath, to the constructor. So the semi-full text search works. So this was it. This was how to use Doxygen and how to combine it with the integrated development environment Qt Creator from the Qt framework. Thank you. Let's do a final commit such that we can see what changed. So in the git ignore, we need to ignore the contents of the generated directories, which are /html and /latex. In here we have LaTeX file, but also the PDF file. In here we have the generated HTML multi-page documentation. Starts with index.html. Then we have, we're using CMake for the Qt Creator project. We've added 2 files, just the constructor for Minimath. And in the H file for Minimath with we have added documentation. In simple math, we have added docstrings in the syntax Doxygen with slash asterisk asterisk with at param. And then we have added the Doxyfile, and the changes in the Doxyfile were 3. We're showing the tree view and the 2 changes required for having the brief repeated in the detail section and having the constructors.